Hague.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Labour and asks, was she satisfied before the first explosion in the Pike River coal mine that her government had done all it could to ensure the workplace safety of people working in underground coal mines, and if so, why?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, according to advice received, I had no reason to believe that the hazards in underground coal mines were not being managed. Immediately after the tragedy at Pike River, the government commissioned an independent safety audit of all other underground mines, which recommended a number of safety improvements in those mines, but reported there is no evidence that a dangerous situation is imminent. We have also established a Royal Commission of Inquiry with very wide terms of reference to inquire into all aspects of the explosion and mine safety.
Kevin Hague.
What steps has she taken to implement the call for the reinstatement of check inspectors in the 2008 Department of Labour discussion paper aimed at improving the health and safety in the underground mining industry?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, the advice I received at the time was that check inspectors would not necessarily improve mine safety, as the legal responsibility in our legislation needs to be squarely on employers.
Kevin Hague.
Why has the Minister ruled out the reinstitution of worker-appointed mine check inspectors abolished by the National Government in 1992?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, I have not ruled out that. In fact, that it will be one of the issues that the Royal Commission of Inquiry will be looking at, and we will be taking those recommendations very seriously and acting accordingly.
Kevin Hague.
Supplementary. Is she aware that Australia still uses check inspectors, and what has she instructed her department to do to learn from health and safety standards in Australian underground mining?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, I understand that in some states in Australia they do use check inspectors, in other states they do not use check inspectors.
Kevin Hague.
Supplementary. Why won't the Minister now reinstate the Mines Inspectorate dismantled by the National Government in 1998 in the light of her department's May 2011 report slamming the current system of mines inspection?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, because we are waiting for the recommendations of the Royal Commission of Inquiry, which will be giving a comprehensive review of the mines and the legislation relating thereto.
Kevin Hague.
Supplementary. In the light of the Pike River mine disaster, does she agree with the reassurance of the Honourable Max Bradford in 1998 that changes to the Mines Inspectorate would not downgrade mine safety, or with Mr. Peter Ewan, the author of the book Strongman, 70 and More, who says the wisdom of the inspectorate changes in 1998 has been questioned by numerous parties, and unfortunately it will only be a matter of when, not if, several pay with their lives, given the ill-considered changes to the inspector's role. Ministerial condolences that will follow will be of small comfort to the bereaved.
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, I think that we can all agree that it was a very real and serious tragedy that happened on Pike River. That is why we've taken the matter seriously. We have an internal investigation, we have an HSE investigation, and we have a Royal Commission of Inquiry, because like everybody else in New Zealand, we want to know exactly what happened, why it happened, and to prevent it happening again.
Kevin Hague.
Why did the government halt the review of mine safety in 2009?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, we did not halt it.
The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Was she aware that her department halted the review of mine safety in 2009? And why did she not reopen that review when Damien O'Connor in May 2010 raised with her mine safety issues in writing?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, the review was not halted by me, and in fact some of the recommendations made in that review were actually adopted.
Just before we go on, I'm not sure that was an answer to the question asked.
I didn't ask whether she halted it at all. That was Mr Hague's question.
I invite the member to repeat his question.
Mr Speaker, as much as I can remember it, because it was adjusted following the response, why did the Ministry halt its review of mine safety, and why did she not reopen that review in May 2010 when Damien O'Connor raised mine safety issues with her?
The Department did halt the review.
The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Why did she not open a review or take seriously the request of the Member of Parliament for the West Coast, Damien O'Connor, in May 2010 when he raised mine safety issues with her?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Well, Mr Speaker, I think the member has a false premise to that question because, one, he's not the member for the West Coast.
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, can I ask you, I accept that I slipped, I was premature in the possibly in that, but Mr Speaker, can I ask you to ask the Minister to address the question?
Well, it's a very interesting point because I assisted the member a moment ago with a question I didn't believe was answered, but then it is incumbent on members to get their questions right. And when a member as skilled as the Honourable member is, makes that kind of error in a question, it'd be unfair of me to prevent a minister from utilising that in an answer. I think, I've got to be balanced in how I handle these things. Supplementary question, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Why did she not reopen the review in May 2010 when Damien O'Connor raised mine safety issues with her?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr Speaker, we had a review of small mines. I took that review very seriously and we accepted recommendations that were detailed in that review.
Kevin Hague.
Supplementary question to the Minister. Does she agree that the government has a share of the responsibility for workplace health and safety in underground mines and for retrieving the remains of those who died in the Pike River disaster? And if so, does she understand New Zealanders' abhorrence that the government has made this the responsibility of the mines receiver?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr Speaker, can I just point out to that member that it is a fundamental premise of the health and safety in employment legislation that the primary responsibility for health and safety in the workplace lies with the employer.
Point of order.
Point of order, Kevin Hague.
My question was whether she agreed that the government had a share, and she has not responded to that, unless she is saying that the employer is entirely responsible.
Well, order. Given the nature of the member's question, I think the Minister's answer was in order, because in response to the question, she answered that under the current law, it is the employer's responsibility, and I think that was a reasonable answer to that question. Point of order, Kevin Hague.
I seek leave of the House to table a series of documents. The first is a page from the Peter Ewan book Strongman, page 162, which contains the quote that I referred to.
Leave is sought to table that page it's from a book by a person called
Peter Ewan,
and the book is called Strongman, I think.
It is.
Leave is sought to table that page from that book. Is there any objection? There is objection. Does the member wish to seek leave to table another document?
Yes, I do indeed, sir.
Order.
The second document is...
Order. Order. A point of order is being heard. Front bench members know better than that. Kevin Hague.
The second is the submission of Mr W.P. Brazil into the inquiry into the administration of occupational safety and health policy in 1995.
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? No, there is no objection.
The third document is a list of National Party MPs for the period 1996 to 1999.
We're not seeking leave to table that. It's common record. Question number 11, Colin King.